So, guys, today we are here for another beautiful, amazing topic, and that is related to career change. So, we all know that career is something which goes on for at least 40 years for most of us,
Yep.
right? And it's a very long journey throughout these 40 years. Now, earlier, I remember in my dad's age, probably yours also,
Yep.
it was take up a job. Most of the time, it was a government job. You get in there and you retire and you're absolutely happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things today have changed. Things don't work the way they were working. And for the future generation, it's going to be even more difficult. And that is why this concept of career change has really become very crucial and important at this stage of life. So let's try and understand, why is career change essential, or how do you really know that this is time for a career change?
So making a career change is a absolutely important decision, but there are often clear-cut signs that it's time to consider a shift. So we are going to share with you some of the key indicators that might suggest that it's time for a change.
So first one could be lack of fulfillment, which means you wake up in the morning, you feel indifferent towards your job, you're at the time dreading to go to work. Those so-called feelings called as Monday blues could be a major sign that your current role isn't aligned with your passion or your interest, or your job no longer gives you some sense of purpose, satisfaction. And that is the reason it's time for you to really look for a role that matches your values and your interest.
It could also be that you're so excited on Friday evening and you're depressed on Sunday night. Okay, that essential that you need a change. Okay, so coming to the second, where there is a stagnancy in the growth. All those people who are wanting to grow in life, when they feel there's no opportunities for advancement, if you hit a career ceiling with no room for growth, new challenges, or promotion, then it could be a sign that your current job isn't offering you the professional development you need. It is also happens when there's a lack of learning opportunities. In today's fast changing world, staying relevant means continuously learning new skills. If your role isn't offering growth opportunities or chance to develop or learn or get into some new expertise, you may be out, you may not be growing the way you're supposed to grow. And that's where it's time to change.
So, I in fact tell my clients that any job which you are in, or a new job that you're taking, if it is 70% of what you've done and 30% of new things, it's a great opportunity. If they're looking at exactly replicating what you have been doing, please don't take the job, even if it is offering you financial growth, because you'll be stagnating in that role.
So true.
So every job, whether you're in the current or you've taken a promotion, always, or a new job, you should always have learning opportunities. That is how you grow. Then, of course, burnout or stress. This is one of the most important things for job change or career change. Now, I would here like to highlight a difference between a career change and a job change. So job change could be, I'm not happy in this current job, in this current company. So I will look for a new job in a new company, but I'm maintaining my role. I'm not changing my role. But when I feel that I don't want to do this role anymore, I want to shift. That is what we refer to as career change, which can happen due to two reasons. One, it's by choice. And choice, these are the reasons that we are giving. This could be a reason that you're wanting to make a career shift, or it could be due to circumstances which are out of your control. So one of the reasons when you want to choose a different career could be burnout or stress. So chronic exhaustion. You constantly feel drained, stressed, overwhelmed. You're feeling that burnout. You persistently are feeling fatigued. There's a mental exhaustion. That means this job is taking a toll on your well-being. The job is demanding and affecting your personal life, relationship, your health. It's a clear signal that your current career is not sustainable for long term. And dear friends, life is much more precious than work.
So true.
So work is definitely important, but not greater and not important than your job.
In fact, that was the same thing I was telling in my evening session to a gentleman who's running a big business. I said, boss, if your life is only on stake, what do you do with all this? So that's something which is so crucial what you said. The fourth is, we all need a motivation. And once that motivation is gone, then that's where we feel stressed, like lack of motivation, like for example, low productivity. You find it hard to stay focused, motivated, or productive, even on important tasks. It could mean that your job no longer excites you. It's not giving you that kick, okay? Or going through the motion, like when you start operating and on autopilot or feel disengaged at work, it's a sign that you might need something more stimulating or aligned with your strengths.
Absolutely correct. Then, of course, finance, which is one of the biggest reason. So sometimes your job is not really a job which is required and maybe phase out in the coming years. That's absolutely the right time for you to change your career. So whether the pay is not matching your skills or there is a job insecurity because you're not sure this job will exist tomorrow. And we all know there is a saying, there is a current trend going on that AI is going to take away 30, 40, 50, 60. Everyone gives different figures, going to take away our roles. So we need to be very, very sure that we are updated with what's happening in the industry. That could be one reason for you to change your career.
And also the last would be misalignment with your company values. Okay, like for example, there's a cultural disconnect. If you no longer resonate with your company's value, mission, or work environment, it can lead to immense amount of unhappiness, dissatisfaction, which can impact your life altogether. Because working in an environment that doesn't align with your personal values can make staying in your role challenging, and that take you to a different level of emotional issues that you might go through.
And of course, interest in a new field. You're doing something, and today, like you all know, that there are so many new things emerging, so many new industries emerging. There is technology changes happening there. There is AI changes happening there. There is digital marketing. There is a social media. So many things coming up in today's time and age. And we have these options across the globe, sitting at one place, in one city, in one house, wherever you belong. So there's so many options coming, and all of a sudden you find, oh wow, this can be a beautiful field. I never thought we could get a job in this field. It seems to me it's going to be more meaningful. Then that's a time that you can explore this new passion or pursue a side project or a hobby, but that can lead you to your career change.
Or you feel stuck or bored. Like for example, repetitive tasks. If your daily routine feels monotonous and you're no longer challenged by the work, now this lack of excitement could be an indicator that it's time to change. Or no long-term vision. If you can't see yourself growing in your current career or progressing towards your long-term goal, it might also be a sign that there is a time to change your career. There's no longer suiting you what you're doing.
And of course, finally, at times we have this gut feeling that something is not okay here. I'm not going to be happy in this role. I don't see growth path here. I don't think I will exist here. That really is a great time that you should change your career. Now, this can just be theory or it can be real.
Yeah.
And we believe in real life stories. That's why we keep inviting guests. It's just not about what we have experienced, but what our guests have experienced throughout. So let's try to hear from three amazing people who are going to be a part of this session today, who will talk about this because they have experienced this in their life. So it's time to bring on our guest, and there's the first one, the second one, and the third one. So welcome all three of you, and thank you very much for joining us live. And I would love all of you to introduce yourselves.
Okay, so I go first.
Okay.
So good evening, this wonderful audience today. So I'm Bobby Mishra, and I have 20 plus years of work experience in various roles in corporate functions and in manufacturing. And recently, in last 1 year, I ventured out on my own as a coach.
Okay.
Okay, I think I can go next.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dheeraj sir and Nutan ma'am for this wonderful opportunity. So my name is Vidya. I work in the IT industry and I work for a company which creates software for taxation. Thank you, everyone.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Varun. I work in sales in a corporate division in one of the largest bank in the country, and I take care of rest of Maharashtra and Goa.
Fantastic.
Okay, that's amazing. So can you please...
So before we go ahead, see the power of women. So the women introduce themselves first, and the man was waiting for his time to come. That's the change we are experiencing in the real world today.
Oh, that's
So thank you, Varun, for really waiting and giving the others the opportunity to introduce. Well, we would love to now have your educational background.
So, well, I did my graduation in chemistry, and then I did my master's, my MBA in marketing and finance. So, yeah, I mean, it was a shift there itself, because after doing my graduation in chemistry, I didn't feel like continuing my master's there. And that's where I decided of pursuing my master's in business administration in marketing and finance.
Okay.
Okay. So I hold a bachelor's degree in microbiology and biochemistry. As usual, I didn't pursue it, and then I went into languages and I hold an advanced diploma in Mandarin language.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm an engineer, and I've done my engineering in electronics and telecommunication, and I'm not doing anything related to it right.
So,
Wow.
guys,
oh God.
education, where we spend our 15 plus to 17 plus 3 years of graduation or post graduation, which means around 21, 22 years, where we focus and we have taken that efforts and we have spent all the money, time, energy. And then all of a sudden, when it's about choosing career, we start wondering, did I get the right education?
So I would like to ask all the audience out there who are watching now or later, just stop for a moment and reflect. Is your education what you're doing and the career that you're pursuing, it's standing like these three great people. So, okay. So I want to know from you here, what was your first job? Yeah, Vidya.
Okay. So, as I said, I graduated with a bachelor's in microbiology and biochemistry. Never entered the lab even for a single day. And I changed course and then started doing Mandarin language. And my first job I landed up was at the consulate of China as a freelancer. I used to take part-time Mandarin lessons as well as do interpretation. So that was my first job.
Okay, Bobby.
So for me, my first job was, in one of the engineering companies where I was taking part of the production planning, control, and operations function.
Yes.
It's very different from what I started off, marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no then marketing and sales into picture.
Yes, Varun.
So during the last year of engineering, we have a project which we have to do for a company. So we were doing a project for that company for the project report, and I was working there for a year. So they gave me a job after the project was done. So I was working there for a year.
So you started as an engineer.
Yes.
Okay, great. So at least out of the three, one of you at least started working in the degree that you had taken. Fantastic. So today, as you all know, we are discussing career changes. And I would like to know from each one of you, what led you to change your career? Was it just one transition, or you've made multiple transitions in your career in these many years? And what was this career transition? So let's really begin from Vidya.
Okay. So, as I've mentioned that I graduated having a bachelor's degree in microbiology and biochemistry. Maybe the germs didn't like me. I didn't like the germs. I could not wear the lab coat for long hours. So I just stepped out of it, did not look after that. I mean, never looked back. And for quite some time, I was passionate about learning different languages and knowing different cultures. So I picked up Mandarin right after that. And once I did my diploma course in Mandarin, I started with a freelancing job at the Embassy of China. I started giving corporate, I used to go to different corporates and offer them Mandarin lessons, and also used to teach kids, professionals. So I used to cater to a huge audience, different walks of life. But obviously, the money that I was making was not what I wanted. It was not giving me the financial independence that I was yearning for, right? I was working very hard, but yeah, it was satisfactory because I'm a very passionate teacher. The passion was fulfilled, of course, but the financial part was still not up to the mark. Then came a change wherein I got married and I came to this city called as Pune from Bombay. And this was a very big shift for me because my husband is a workaholic. Once he logs in, he never looks back. And I was left without any friends here, no communication, no connections whatsoever. So I was just left in the lurch like that. So I was just looking for opportunities where, I could make use of my skills and get some make a kickstart again, because this was taking a toll on my confidence. Just sitting home, not doing anything, the inaction also led to several health issues, right? And that's when I decided that I would approach a career coach. I approached you, Nutan ma'am and Dheeraj sir, because I was really wanting a break, first to kickstart my journey again, and then to get back my financial independence. Whatever money I was making, at least let me start making that kind of money again. So that's when I approached both of you. And of course, with my Chinese language skills, I landed up in a corporate job, which I would have never imagined. And I think the first job that I landed up in a corporate paid nearly 10x of what I was earning as a freelancer. So that was a big boost
Wow.
to my confidence. So I was truly excited, and I started learning. Started putting into use my Chinese language skills in the corporate. But then 3 years down the line, COVID hit again. So the skills were no longer relevant to the industry. So that's when, again, I mean, I was getting coached, but then again, Nutan ma'am helped me go back to my passion for teaching. She picked up that. So she helped me, train my juniors in the current company itself. And I also picked up the skill of customer communication. I was never good at that, but she honed my skills. I started communicating with customers. I picked up doing legal research, which I was never part of. So that was yet another transition within the career itself. And yeah, so when this was happening, all these skills got noticed by the leadership somehow, and I landed up with a promotion, again with a handsome pay package, which I would have never imagined. And now I think I'm leading a team of nearly 10 members, which comprises of researchers, reviewers, engineers across. So yeah, multiple transitions throughout.
Right. So, people listening out there, we would love to hear from you. Was relocation one of the reasons why you had to make a career change? And that genuinely happens most of the time with women, but we've also experienced men go through this, because if the wife has a wonderful job and they have relocated because of her job, then there are men looking out for new job options, because those job options which they had here are not existing in the country that they have traveled. So is relocation, so like I said, career change can be out of your choice, where you're feeling stagnated, you're not feeling passionate, burnout, blah blah, what we this, or you're left with no choice because you've relocated.
Yeah.
The external circumstances have forced you to make a change in your career. So for Vidya, these were multiple transitions. But what I'm trying to convey through these people's story is that not necessarily it will be just one career change, but it's not such a big thing that you're so scared of. If you take the right help, you can make this smooth, and really you can grow, make money, and feel happy and satisfied. And isn't that what career supposed to do for you? Not take a toll on your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So this was from Vidya. I would like to hear from Bobby. How many transitions have you made in your career?
So I think I've made around 3 to 4. So like I said, I started working post my MBA in Nasik, and that was with the engineering company that I said, handling the PPC function. And then post that, I decided to move to a different city, which is the city of Pune, and that's when the second transition happened. In fact, so that's when I completely shifted my the role from what I was doing earlier to this. Role which was more into the marketing function. And because I was never a marketing and sales person, though I don't know why did I specialize, do my specialization in in marketing and thereafter in finance. So that's when the second transition happened. And post that, of course, I was working as an executive assistant to the MD. And then looking at the people, strong people connect that I had, I moved to another role, into human resources. And then of course I also made a third, which is the final transition, after a long time working in human resources, which is venturing out on my own. And that was due to reasons like, for me, the first transition was because I moved cities. And that's where the role changed. The career transition happened. And when I decided, so I was traveling a long distance for my last role, which was really taking a toll, because I would spend a lot of time traveling. And I also wanted to do something on my own, where I could get more time for myself, focus on my health, could exercise, because I'm a part of an NGO, and there are a lot of things for which I needed more time. And then I was I started getting coached from Newton, and that is how the third transition happened of venturing on my own. That why not? Do something which you like, where you can really make a transformation, and that's when I transitioned into coaching. So that's my story.
I think this is really awesome because it's not easy. So let's give me information. She was the HR head of that company, and from there, being in that position, and then creating that position for yourself, working so hard, and then finally taking a decision based on priority. I think for help and for a contribution for an NGO, I think that's kudos to you. It's not easy, so it's amazing. I think all of us there who are wanting to do such transition, please don't worry where you are thinking what will happen. See her, she's taken this decision and today she's so happy, so excited and leading a great life.
So how many of you are really going through these challenges in your job front, where commuting from one place to other is really killing you?
Yep.
You start early in the day, you end up reaching back home late. You know that you're physically, mentally, completely exhausted. The fatigue is more due to travel
Yep.
than the fatigue due to working in those hours that you're contributing towards your organization. When you come back, you're so exhausted that you just don't want to interact with anyone. You just want to go there, lie on the couch. You're barely eating food. And the weekend to weekend is where you find some solace and peace.
So true.
Well, is it really worth staying in a job like that, where it's become so difficult and it has started taking a toll on your health, your well-being, and of course impacting your relationships? If that is the case, dear friends, please believe me that career change is not such a difficult decision if done wisely and the transition is planned beautifully.
Let's come to Mr. Varun.
So I've also done 3 transitions. As I said, I started with my engineering job, which I hated to the core. I couldn't, somehow I managed. But then I was always passionate about food and beverages. And that's how I started my own coffee shop, that to taking a loan and, investing my own money, which I almost did for 3.5, 4 years, which was doing good. I was interviewed in Times of India for my innovations in coffee and even the taste. But eventually, as I didn't have much experience in business and it was a rented place, it started going down. My business started falling down, and I was not able to cope up with it. And my debts started increasing. So during that time, even I was dating my girlfriend, now my wife, and we were planning to get married. And her father had clearly told that I was not doing well in my career. So if I do well in my career, he will allow her to marry me. And that is the time I decided that I need to move on, and that is the time I took help from Dheeraj sir and Nutan ma'am. And because I had a gap of 4 years after engineering, I couldn't get into an engineering job. So the only option was left was sales. And then Dheeraj sir and Nutan ma'am guided me to get into job in sales, and that's how my journey started in sales. And then from retail sales, now I'm into corporate sales.
So, so many times our identity becomes the business that we have been running. And this is so damn relevant with entrepreneurs who start believing this is who I am, forgetting that you're a person who has some skills, who has some passion, who's gathered some knowledge, who's built on some expertise, and you can move. But because it becomes your identity, you stay there and you go on making debts. And then after that, that financial burden starts affecting your health, it starts affecting your relationship. But the courage to take that break and saying enough is enough, I need to move on, becomes such a big decision. So it's not necessary from a corporate job to an entrepreneur. Career change is also from an entrepreneur to a corporate job, depending on what circumstances, what situation. So if you listen to Varun's story, it was one about he not really knowing all the skills attached to business. So suffering debts, he had to make a choice. out from a place which he was truly passionate about, which is one of the most difficult decisions, and that's why you cannot take it on your own. And second, the life stage demanded the change in career because he knew his relationship was at stake, and which is so natural for a father to believe that if he's giving his daughter in someone's hand, that man at least needs to be financially stable. At least in India, that's one of the biggest criteria for marriage.
Yes, I do believe this shows that, how truly does Varun love his woman, his wife. Give up on your passion and for love. I think, yeah, kudos to you. That's amazing. Or I think your wife is so fortunate to have you in her life where you give up on your passion and you decided to, because I know it was not only the financial loss, but I'm sure this was one of the major factor for you to decide that I'm going to get a stable job, a stable company. And yeah, now we are here today. So there could be various reasons that demands a career change. But the point that we're trying to highlight, it's really not that difficult. We have 3 people here who have done 3 transitions, all of them, but all of them today are leading a very happy, meaningful, and successful life. And that's what matters. And for that, it is important that we build that courage and we also take support wherever it is required for us to do that transition in our career. Nothing, it may seem extremely difficult because of so much of comfort zone that we live into, but the fact is it's getting toll on your health, it's getting toll on your mental being, it's getting toll on your relationship, then I don't think it's worth it. So whatever reasons that you have, if it is time to, like as you've heard today, all these people and whatever that we have shared, and if it is a time to do that shift in career, please do it. You know why? Because 70% of our time goes in our career. And if we are not happy there, then imagine our life is completely going to be ruined and miserable.
So, like these people shared, even we have done multiple transitions.
Yes.
Neeraj also and me also. We've done multiple transitions in our career.
Yep.
But believe me, it's been a happy space. It's been from one to the other, but the ride has been smooth. And that is why I am sitting here and telling you that it's possible, because each journey has had a beautiful turn. And second, I feel success is defined by people in their own unique way.
Yeah.
Maybe what I define success may not be relevant for Vidya. What Vidya defines as success may not be relevant for Varun. So it is for me to decide whether I'm successful in my career or no. Second, it is for me to decide how important is my career and how is it affecting and impacting all the other areas of my life.
So true.
If it's taking toll on my health, it's time for a career change. If it's taking toll on my relationships, it's time for a career change. And if I'm feeling miserable in my career, then also it is a time for career change. So if it is any of these reasons and all the practical reasons that we specified in the beginning, then dear friends, it's absolutely the right time for you to think, am I at the right place? And if I don't feel confident, if I don't have that courage to make this decision, then find people who can support you through this journey. Because at the end of the day, a happy man, a happy woman in a career brings happiness and joy to the family. And isn't that life all about?
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Bobby, Varun, and Vidya, for coming out and openly sharing and giving a beautiful message to everyone out there. Thank you so much. And all the people listening, thank you once again. And happy Diwali to all of you in advance. And see you again on next Friday on